So the next step in our cinnamon buns is to add the sugar. Where's the sugar?
It's right over there, right next to the salt, in an identical, unmarked container.
The salt?
This is it. This is the sugar.
How do you know?
Why do you doubt?
You can at least do a taste test.
Have you ever been in a kitchen before? Unsanitary much. If you remember back to week 4 of our series, we introduced you to the topic of water. And it is such a big topic that we feel like it deserves a second video.
To reiterate, we learned that water is used in both a positive and a negative context, and that God is in complete control over the waters.
Now we can clearly see this, especially when we look in the Old Testament, that whenever God commanded the seas to do something, the seas obeyed him, and they did what he commanded them to do. It is clear that God was not afraid to use water as a form of judgment. In the account of Noah and the ark, God sends a flood to judge mankind for their wickedness. In the crossing of the Red Sea, God uses the water of the sea to kill the Egyptians who were pursuing the Israelites. Even Jonah, who thought that he could escape God by escaping the way of the sea, but we clearly see that God not only controls the water with the storm, but he also controls all the creatures of the sea, as we can see with the fish that both ate and spat out Jonah.
Now that we've looked at water as a symbol of chaos, tribulation, and destruction, let's look at it in a more positive light.
Yeah, one of the ways that we can see God using water in a positive light is that he used it to deliver his people. Although the flood account killed countless numbers of people, God still saved Noah and his family. And although the Red Sea killed lots of Egyptians, God still used the Red Sea to save the Israelites. Water was also used for purification reasons or for cleansing. Whether it was for general hygiene or ritual cleansings, water was used to clean both physically and spiritually. For example, in order for an Israelite to enter the tabernacle, they would have to be ritually sprinkled with water.
God was not afraid of water, nor did he use water only for judgment. Whenever God's people encountered water, his Spirit was always with them.
Like in the book of Joshua, when the Israelites were crossing the Jordan River, it wasn't Joshua who went first into the river, but rather it was the priests who were carrying the Ark of the Covenant. Now this was a symbol of God's presence in Israel. And so this wasn't man going first into the water, but rather it was God who went first into the river. Now, we can read about God using people like Moses, Elijah, and Elisha to perform miracles involving water, but it is only God who is able to trod over the waters.
When the storm hits, Jesus sees the needs of his disciples in their desperate situation, and he walks out on the water to meet them. Now, Mark's parallel passage is in Mark 6, and in Mark 6:48, we see that Jesus intended to pass by them with the intention that they would see him, which was an implicit claim to Jesus' divinity.
So the Greek words used here are peripaton epi they thalasis, which when we look at the Septuagint, these are the same words used here as are used in Job 9 verse 8, which is a verse that's used to describe that God is the only one who can trample over the seas. And so with Jesus walking on the water, he is proclaiming himself as God, for he is the one who is trampling over the water.
In the midst of a difficult situation, Jesus had to remind the disciples who he was. He was the Messiah and the one who controlled both the storm and the waters.
And so that leads us to our good question this week. Why did you doubt? And so we ask you, do you doubt? Can you truly say that you will trust Jesus in some of life's most difficult situations? That Jesus is truly the one who can conquer any storm in your life? And so we encourage you to pray about this question and to prepare your hearts to answer this question as we come into Sunday morning.
I'm so excited for these cinnamon
I
buns.
know. How long have we been waiting? Like 4 minutes?
What? No, it's been like 3 hours.
Oh,
Whatever. Let's eat.
let's go.
Let's eat. Still feeling good about that decision?
I don't want to hear it.
That's
We got
good.
it. We got it.